fucking week. Big episode. This was almost, still in my opinion, I think you almost could have scissor fucked episode 1 and episode 2, made that one of the 80-minute episodes. I feel like there's a lot of drum beating going on, but there was a lot of kind of like, almost like you feel like there was a lot of send-offs this week. Like there was kind of like sealing up like people's potential storylines, like with Brianna Tarth. I think that the Arya thing, that's like they're almost trying to make her like super adult and kind of go down her checklist of things before she eventually kicks the bucket. But there was a lot of good moments. We'll start off with you. What were some of your favorite moments?
I definitely agree. Well, I definitely agree that there was a lot of like fluff in that, and I feel like that was an issue with the show throughout. Was like they take a lot of time getting. They know this is going to be a big event coming up, but the episodes leading up to it is kind of like okay, and then like something will start to happen like right before that episode. Like I feel like that could have been shortened. The last 2 episodes could have been shortened into one long one. They could have cut out like some of the. Speaking of scissoring, they could have cut out the Miss Sandy, Grey Worm things.
I could give a fuck less about that storyline.
And I think that's just fluff. But what I liked. I mean, what do you think about that?
I love the whole episode.
Okay.
So I was showing up ready to defend this episode. This is the hill that I die on.
Yeah.
I thought that episode 1, I hated most of it. Like I think my highlight of episode 1 was the credits. Like I loved the opening sequence, and then the rest of it I was pissed about. This episode I loved everything, and I think that Game of Thrones, I think as a show, is at its best. The books were the same way. It's at its best when the big action scenes and the big unfolding events are a payoff, like it's earned. Yeah. And I feel like everything this week set up whatever else is going to happen. So it's like, right now you have no idea who's going to die because everybody has had that closeout moment where Brienne gets knighted. Jaime's been vouched for by Brienne. You had Grey Worm and Missandei had their like, oh, we're gonna retire to the Bahamas moment.
Yep.
And it's like when someone that's in the police force in a movie says they're retiring in 2 weeks, they're fucking dead.
Yep.
So you know that those people are probably dead. At least one or both of them is gonna die. And like if I had to put my money on first person dead now, I'd be putting some of it on Grey Worm. Because I think he gets it. He's going to be on the front lines. He's going to be right in the thick of it. It's a good chance that he dies. And he already had his like, oh man, one last battle, last drug deal. It's like that. And he
doesn't know. He doesn't know what peace is like. And she's saying that her land's peaceful. So it's kind of like he's going to.
Yeah, but they've set it up to where you could see any person dying now. Everyone. You could see Tyrion getting it. You could see all these people getting it. And I love that because now it's like whoever is in the thick of it, you really don't know if they're going to live or die. So it's like you'll be on the edge of your seat this whole next episode. The next episode is supposed to be a battle beginning to end, and it's an 80 or 90 minute episode. It's going to be the longest battle scene in TV or movie history.
Yep.
The longest continuous fight scene. They promised that for ages. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
So with that being said about your opinion of this episode and the opinion of the last episode, don't you think that maybe, I feel like if this episode was such a build-up for the fight, which I agree, the last episode doesn't really need to happen. Like, there's nothing really in that episode except for the.
I thought they knocked stuff out.
But I mean, I think all of that could have been in. But like, the last episode basically was just a lead up for that stare at the end. That's what I thought.
Kind of.
With the reunions.
I thought they got everything out of the way. I thought that they had to show Jon and Arya see each other again. They had to show Jon and his weirdo wheelchair brother see each other again for the first time, so you could see that Jon's so happy to see him, and he's just like cold and attached, and he's weird now. They had to show that and get those things out of the way. They did that with that first episode. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I could have used less of that episode. I could have used less of Theon going and rescuing his sister. They could have spent that time better.
Which happened in like 5 seconds. I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, you like almost missed it. It was like the blink of an eye. So there was a lot of stuff in episode 1 that I didn't like how they handled it, but I felt like it had to be done. They had to show all of these things.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it. They knocked that stuff out. Episode 2, I thought where everything that failed in episode 1, I thought it succeeded in episode 2. Like you felt the emotion of it. Like when Brienne gets knighted and she's like a proud young boy. Getting their first merit badge. She has like the big cheese grin. You're happy for her. You know? When she vouches for Jaime, like there was payoffs in this too. Like they weren't battle scene payoffs, but there was payoffs where Tyrion was a good guy to Sansa. So Sansa actually vouches for him to Daenerys.
Yeah.
She didn't have to do that. and then you have, who else? Jorah. Jorah, who was at odds with Tyrion forever, vouches for him.
Yep.
So you had people getting vouched for because they weren't assholes earlier in the series. They did the right thing when it was difficult to do the right thing. People vouch for them. Brienne vouching for Jaime. Everybody vouching for Tyrion. So it made sense and it worked.
Yeah.
I thought that it worked. And it was like you felt like they did the difficult thing and now you get the payoff where someone actually backs you up for it.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. I thought it was cool that that Sam healed Jorah. But now Jorah is going to be like ready to go into battle. He gives him the sword from his family that he stole, so now he has a giant Valyrian sword to go into battle with. I think that's big.
Yep.
I thought it was cool seeing him have it out with his niece or whatever she is, or cousin, Lyanna, the head of their house, and she basically tells him off, but hopes he does well in the war for obvious reasons.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to see her fight. I hope it's, I was telling you guys this off camera, I really hope it's like watching Yoda fight, where she's doing somersaults and flips and cutting everybody up. So I'm psyched to see what happens with those things.
I'm psyched to see her get turned into a White Walker.
A little baby White Walker.
I feel like the beginning of episode 1 was almost like the end of Lord of the Rings Return of the King. It was just like the end of Return of the King was like a 45-minute fucking teddy bear picnic
staring at
fest.
people.
Yeah.
And it seemed like that's what episode 1 was. Like, it was like, obviously you needed to have those scenes in Return of the King to close up the story, just like you needed the scenes in episode 1 to kind of reintroduce everybody and stuff. But I felt like it was a little too overdone. There's a couple of small things like that I have that are gripes with the episode. Like, I feel like Bran should have a little more information and a little more tactical strategy on how to take out the Night King based on the fact, like couldn't he essentially go back to the Long Night and see how the Night King was?
I get it, but the Night King can do the same thing. So it's like if you have two people that can see the past, that can constantly make decisions in the current day based on past information or what they think that other person's doing in the future, then it's all in motion.
Yeah.
So there is no definite end to it, because if he says, oh, we're going to do this, then the Night King can adjust to that and do the same thing back. So it all hangs in the balance. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And neither one of them knows, and they're at odds with each other, which, when we talk about theories, the theory that Bran is the Night King, I think gets destroyed by the fact that you see that the Night King is coming to kill him. And he's tried to kill Bran more than once now, where he killed the old Three-Eyed Raven and then sent his army of dead people to try and kill Bran. Bran barely gets away. They weren't coming to bring him back to have a little tea.
Yeah.
Like, they were going to kill him. So I think it's pretty obvious that Bran and the Night King are not the same person.
Yeah. Do you think that that also that Bran would have like a little more knowledge and input on the idea that let's put all the women and children in the crypt with the fucking legendary dead people? Like, like, does that, to anybody that knows the history of the White Walkers, or even Jon Snow for that fact, he knows that the dead can be, he saw it in fucking Hardhome. He saw it happen. He saw the dead rise from the ground. So why would anybody think that the crypt is a safe place to put anyone?
Right.
And there's also a thing about the crypt. They never found the end of the crypt. They've never found. This is just my show, like the book thing going. But like, I mean, the crypts go on, and they're caverns that have been there before Winterfell. So
you can get lost.
Who knows? Yeah, and who knows if there's an entrance somewhere else?
Yep.
You know?
And I believe that there probably is. Because it makes sense. Any place that's ever been a kingdom that has a huge castle usually has some kind of escape tunnels.
And that's an ancient.
But who knows
place.
where they are?
Right. It could be. It could be over the wall.
Right.
You know?
I do think it's interesting they went out of their way to tell you how safe the crypt is.
Yeah.
They told you multiple times.
Yeah.
Which tells you that they're probably not.
Yeah.
Which is
and
it seems like they went a little heavy on the foreshadowing there. You know.
And also, I think what you're saying about like the Bran's planning, I thought that was one of the funnier. I mean, looking at it from like, this is a serious thing. Like, they have the map laid out. They got all the heads around.
The risk board out there.
And they're like, all right, so we're gonna strategize and we're gonna do this plan. Okay, so this is gonna be the battle plan. Bran, you're gonna be the bait, and like that's all they kind of discussed.
Yep.
So I'm okay with it because I think that when they show it on TV, they
It's
lie.
gonna be-
The
yeah.
show lies to us all the time. Like they don't show you the whole
Right,
conversation.
maybe it was an after, but still, it's
They
just
didn't
funny
give you
that
the
they
whole
were
strategy
like,
session because you saw them digging
but it was
out a
just,
trench.
but it was just derailed. Like, all right, Bran's gonna like that's
right.
what, yeah.
They don't mention in their strategy session anything about the trench.
Right.
Which they're clearly going to light on fire.
Right.
So.
And Brienne's in charge of the left.
I feel like there's a lot of stuff that they didn't tell you. I zoomed in on it, and that's like she has the Aaron forces, which is whatever knights are left and whatever they have.
Oh, so there's actually House Aaron.
House Aaron's people are all still there at Winterfell with them.
Is Robert gonna come?
I don't think so.
little
The one
Robin.
the breastfeeding kid.
Yeah.
I think not.
He's
Sweet
just
Robin.
gone. Yeah, Sweet Robin.
I think he might be dead by now because he has no tit milk.
Ah.
He should hook up with Tormund.
Yeah.
Become big and strong. So,
Right, good for the bones. Yeah.
So that's that one side, and then it showed. I looked real close at all this stuff, but it has the Dothraki up front, and then it has the Unsullied, and then on one side it has Brienne and the people from the Vale, the
Yeah.
Knights of the Vale, and all those people, and those are legit fighters.
Yeah.
And then it has the Stark people on the side, and then it has the people from Bear Island. There's like 60 of them inside the walls of Winterfell, so that's
Right.
like their last line of defense. And then inside the crypt, you're gonna have people that can fight. Apparently, a little girl with the stone face on the half of her, which like was heartbreaking to see this dude look at her and remember that. Oh, I knew a little girl like that once.
Yeah.
That was sad. But she's gonna be down there. Tyrion's gonna be down there. Sam's gonna be down there. None of these people are great fighters, but you're talking about people that will do what it takes when it comes down to it. They'll have some probably dragon glass weapons to them.
Right.
Yep.
They'll at least be able to defend a little bit if it comes down to it, which I'm sure it hadn't occurred to me ahead of time until they told me how safe it was down there. I was like, oh, something bad's down there. I didn't know that the Night King could just raise all the dead ever, because if you counted, I mean, how many people have died since, 5,000 years ago?
Yeah,
It's gotta be in the
like,
billions.
Is there a stipulation
The rules are gonna change to increase the plot, I think.
It gotta be. I
Yeah,
thought north
you
of the
know.
wall that they burn the bodies because the ground's frozen and you can't bury people that easy in frozen ground. And it's like if you leave a dead body out and it's like just sitting there, that's fair game. He can have
Right.
that one. I didn't think he could get ones that are bones that have maybe turned to dust by
Right,
now. Like
exactly.
maybe they're not even bones anymore because they've been down there, 4,000 years.
Right.
Who knows? But there's Stark people down there since the last time that the Night King had a fight with everyone. So you're talking 5,000 years or so earlier.
Yeah.
Like Bran the Builder is buried down there
So
somewhere.
like the Battle of
His
the
bones-
Bastards and all that stuff. Props to House Bolton, by the way.
Yeah.
Where do they put all those? Do they burn all those bodies?
I would assume.
Right.
I don't think they were going to give them proper burials. Because why do they care?
Because if
John
that's a
knows
big
better.
burial, because there's a lot of people there.
John knows better.
Right.
You would think that he would burn all those people. I think
That'd be awesome. If Ramsay Snow come back.
Yeah,
That'd be sick.
I think the battle, when it comes down to it, is I think the Dothraki are not as helpful.
Yeah.
The one
It's
thing
cold.
that it's cold. They have no shirts on.
Right.
And they go hand to hand. What's going to happen when a gang of dead people jumps on their horse? You
Yep.
know.
I hope that that'd be awesome if a lot of them turn and become like part of the
You know
army.
that they're gonna,
Yeah,
and now you have
that'd be
dead horses with dead
Yeah.
Dothraki on it.
Yep.
I do see though they're good with bow and arrow. I see them taking out a lot of the dead people before they get killed
It's
and turn
gonna be
into dead
that
people.
typical
and then
thing.
they'll cannibalize
Yeah.
themselves down to
Right.
nothing. So I could see that happening. I could also see them starting the fight, retreating to bring everybody into the Unsullied, and then the Unsullied doing their thing, where they're good with their shields. They work kind of like the 300 Spartans. Where
Right,
they make
right.
like a big phalanx and they'll be fighting them off. So I see that too.
But why couldn't by rights, why couldn't the Night King just circle the perimeter, wait until some of the living get killed, and then raise them up? Like it seems like it's an unwinnable fight.
Right.
Well, you figure if the living, all they got to do is kill a couple of dead before they get killed, and you're reducing the numbers down a whole lot. I think a lot of people are going to die in the battle, for sure. I think Arya is going to do major damage after they showed you how good she's gotten with throwing
I can't
weapons,
stand that
because she
shit.
can throw the dragon glass weapons. They showed her with a bow and arrow.
You know what Mary Sue is, right?
What is that?
Mary Sue? It's a character in books. She has no conflict, and there's no flaws in her anymore. She's just killing machine. Like, I don't see her.
Fuck machine.
Yeah, I just can't stand the character of Arya anymore because of the whole Mary Sue thing. Like, she's a master knife thrower. She's a master archer. Now she's got this spear that she's swinging around, and she can wield it. Like,
Her fighting skills are a little too good for the story, but for the show purposes,
like
I
I
can
could
accept
picture
it.
her like do Legolas type moves like in the battle. Like she's an 18. We'll say 18.
Yeah.
For the sense of it being like filming almost child porn.
Yeah.
Which I was shocked. I just.
She's 22.
I know, but I'm saying the character.
Yeah, I know, but I
I'm
mean,
saying, yeah, I know she's
you
22.
For face value, you see she's 22. Just like Daenerys was supposed to be 13
I know,
in the books.
but I'm just saying it was
would
a
have
little
been
bit
cool for Khal Drogo.
It's a little bit
to give it
shocking
to her.
because she's like 10 in the book, so I always see her as that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I could. She's an 18-year-old girl. I just don't see her killing a bunch of people like that. Like, I wish they utilized her as like the assassin that she was.
I agree.
That she was trained to be, but
I can see her doing major damage though, because you figure she now can fight from distance, so she's not going to get swarmed because she's going to be throwing weapons, she's going to be firing arrows, and I think whatever this weapon is that she had made, the top of it obviously is like some kind of projectile thing, but if it stays attached, kind of like a giant nunchucks or something like that, she'll be able to do all kinds of stuff with it and kill a bunch of people.
She was trained by some sensei, some Asian guy.
We'll assume.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, she's fighting unskilled dead people at the same time. She doesn't have to be great with it. Like, you know?
I just, book or no book, I don't think I'd like Arya. Just in the fact that she's like the chick from The Last Jedi, like, you know, spits in the face of spits in the face of, like, she fights Brienne, who's supposed to be like this great warrior, like last season, and like and holds her own.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, I mean, like, she definitely received like tons of training from the Faceless Men and stuff, but it doesn't seem like the training is different from actual battle experience.
Right.
And like seeing that she really hasn't had that much battle experience, it is almost tough to believe that she's kind of a fucking master of arms.
How many unarmed people has she killed versus how many armed people has she killed?
I'd say it's more unarmed.
True, mostly unarmed.
Yeah.
But I feel like
I would love to if they just slapped her in the face and just killed her off. First
feel
one
like
to die, Arya. She just goes into battle like, "Woo," and it's like
I feel
done.
like Brienne underestimated her, and that's the reason why she was able to hold her own against Brienne, which is funny because Brienne always beat guys that were bigger and maybe better than her because they underestimated her because she's a woman. So, same thing. I think she underestimated Arya. That's why Arya held her own.
I appreciate your positivity.
She didn't see those moves coming. She didn't see Arya doing any of those things. She took it easy, and as a result...
I wish I could be more like you, though.
As a result, that's how it ended.
Yeah. No, I know. I get it. I have a couple friends like that they just...
I try not to go full fanboy, but like there's certain things that you just got to make allowances for and kind of accept it and just move on from it.
If we combined, we'd be like the perfect fan. Like, I need to lighten up more, and I need to see it more, but like, yeah.
My only complaint was that Tormund and the gang of people coming back from Last Hearth, not only did they beat the Night King and his army, they did it without getting noticed. To get from Last Hearth all the way down to Winterfell, they beat him by a full day.
Yeah.
Without being noticed, without a guy on a dragon seeing, hey, there's some people down there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
right, exactly.
That part bothered me,
but
I can kind of accept it because you got like Walking Dead people that are stumbling their way.
Yeah.
And the Night King, you figure he's doing whatever. You figure just hanging back, making sure that they're all making it, controlling them with his brain. He didn't probably have time to worry about everything else. And they're on horses.
So he's controlling all of them.
I assume. I assume he's the one that's in charge of most of them. Just like we saw the little group last year when they killed the one White Walker and the small group of Wights all dropped.
It would be a smarter thing to do. He should relinquish
I think that
power.
the majority of them are with the Night King, but every time you kill a White Walker, there's going to be a faction that drops that guy's controlling. So I think that that's going to be a big part of it. But I feel like they're on horseback. If they're going full blast as fast as they can to get around this army of the dead and get there, they're moving way faster. You can kind of write it off because if you think with a real timeline, the distance between those two places is supposed to be like multiple days, like a week from Last Hearth to Winterfell. So if it's a week and they can beat them by a day, I can sort of stomach that because you figure that they saw what happened, they said, shit, we need to get back. And then they blast down there. That would make sense to me. And I can sort of justify it. Like, I keep trying to find a way to justify what's happening so that I'm not the whole time thinking about why does that make no sense? Why is that stupid?
Yeah.
I want to focus on what makes sense and what's good. You know who's on your side and who's not now. The lines are completely drawn.
I mean, the reason why I think a lot of people fell in love with the show and didn't read the book is like the realism and the realism of the events that happened. So I'm all about like this, like, because I was like traumatized when I read the books, and a lot of people were traumatized when they watched the show when like these things. Oh, Robb Stark, he's like the hero, you know, like he can't die. Or Eddard, like even the first season, like Eddard dies, and like big name actor, and you're like, what the hell?
And it breaks your fantasy brain.
Right.
Your fantasy brain says that guy's the hero. He's a good guy. He might take a couple of beatdowns on the way, but he's gonna win.
Right. Yeah. So when it stops doing that, I think that's when I start to like. It forces me to go back to being that like angry book geek.
But if you look at the number of episodes, we get this one that's going to be a whole battle scene.
Yep.
I can see a scenario where they lose, have to retreat,
That's what I was saying.
and fight it out somewhere else. But they still only have 3 episodes after this, where if the humans win, presumably they do, they then have to make it to King's Landing,
And
defeat everybody there, and then have that
establish
wrap
a
up.
kingdom.
Establish a
Yeah.
kingdom and wrap everything up. So
Right.
I figure episode 6, the final episode, has to wrap things up. It's gonna probably feel anticlimactic because there's not gonna be fights or anything crazy. It's gonna be a final settling down of everything. This is what's gonna happen. Like, if they decide to do the things that I think, they'll give Tormund Last Hearth.
Yep.
They'll give Gendry, who I think lives,
Storm's End.
Storm's End, the natural lord of Storm's End, because that's his family. He even fights with their axe.
Right.
Like, he honors
Hammer.
all their methods and everything.
Yeah.
So you can see all those things happening, but they have to sort that out. Like, they're
Right.
gonna have to settle everything.
I
in the
think there might
final
be some
episode.
killing in that too, sorting out maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure they got a clean house.
Right.
Seeing how they were like preparing for battle in Winterfell, it got me to thinking that like Winterfell is not really. It's not an impenetrable fucking fortress. It's kind of a shit place to make
It's
a
a
final
tough
stand.
fortress to. No, it is.
Like it's like in fucking like Theon fucking took the thing with fucking 3 guys.
But he was
Yeah.
inside of it, and they say that 1 man on the walls of Winterfell is worth like 100 outside of
Right.
it, because it is that kind of a fortress. It has a double curtain wall. Like, from a military standpoint, it's a very defensible castle. You don't need a lot of people to hold Winterfell.
Yeah.
To
Winterfell
take
was
it, you need
empty
a
though.
ton.
It was almost empty when Theon did it. He did it, at
And
night
he
with
was already
grapple.
there. They thought he was their friend.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah, I mean,
kind
he-
of took it
yeah.
with
He
cunning.
went over with like grapples and then went through,
yeah.
at night. But
he didn't take it by force.
but there was a
But
thing.
wouldn't the Eyrie be a
Perfect.
be the perfect place? Like they straight up said multiple times, impregnable. Like
The only thing that would happen was the dragon, but that's it. But yeah, them coming up.
or you could starve him out.
But it's winter and
Well-
the thing is, it's winter and you can't. There's a path,
Yeah.
pass that you can't cross without like basically either
Yeah.
falling to your death.
So if
I
you're up
think
there for
they're-
winter, you're up there
I think
for
yeah, I
winter.
think they've as a beyond that point. But you brought up a good thing when you said something about how they're not going to win at Winterfell, because it was a quick line when they were talking about Bran being the bait. They're like, this isn't a battle that we can fight head to head.
yeah.
And they
Yeah.
said that, and
Yeah,
that's what they're doing. That's how they're setting it up right now. So, I mean, I think that's kind of
At the end of it, though, they just need to kill the Night King. So I could
which
see.
is fucking stupid, but yeah.
And that's the thing, because he controls so many of the undead. If they can somehow get a dragon on dragon collision
Yeah.
and kill the Night King, game over. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's you win that battle. And I could see whenever it's won, that's how it has to end. It's just, again, just like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if you can, you get rid of the ring, everybody drops. You get rid of Sauron, everybody drops. It's kind of like that. And even like leading up to the battle,
It's such a cliche.
and that's the other thing too, not to keep bringing up
Right.
Lord of the Rings. They're one-upping Lord of the Rings right now.
Oh, yeah.
Lord of the Rings currently is the longest fight scene in movie history. It's like a 40-minute fight or something crazy, and they filmed it over like 4 months. It's a crazy battle.
I hope this battle, this like huge, long, epic struggle, and I hope it's like George R. R. Martin, like, all right, the Night
like a
King,
strong hand
yeah,
in it.
and like, boom, like this battle ends, and it's like, wait a minute, like this doesn't resolve it, like it doesn't fucking resolve anything, and it just and there's something, and there's some sort of battle between Bran and whatever is.
But Bran has no real powers to fight with.
No, but I'm saying like some sort of like battle of like
Of the
like
minds?
cosmic type of shit going on.
Well, here's the other thing. If Jon
And what
or
about?
Daenerys
Oh, sorry.
is,
What about? What about fire? What about like Azor Ahai fire?
Exactly what I was just gonna
yeah,
say.
because I always
the
thought
theory
this-
is that they need Lightbringer.
right.
If he needs his sword, the way that Lightbringer was made, Azor Ahai, the original one, if you're saying the prince that was promised, Azor Ahai reborn, that
Right.
person, the way that he did his sword, he had to plunge it into the love of his life, into her heart. And then when he pulled it out, the thing turned on fire and lit up like it glowed. And that was the real Lightbringer sword, and that was how
It'd be awesome if
that was how he won the battle.
be
There's
awesome
a
if it
situation
was,
where Jon might have to kill Daenerys to
But no, it'd
turn
be
his
awesome.
sword into the real Lightbringer and win the battle, and that would be nuts.
But no, it'd be cool too, because like, what if Bran somehow wields this power, and he becomes like the knight that he always wanted to be?
True.
And like does it somehow in like a way like some sort of like scenario where it's like like mind fucking each other, like, and it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
I could see that. And that's, again, the thing that I
Yeah.
think is so good is they've built it up in a way where any which direction that it goes in, it's like they planted so many seeds that whichever ones they decide that they
Yeah.
want to use, there was already the seeds laid for it
Right.
to grow from there. So it's like you could see anything happening and buy into it. Like if Brand did that, you'd be like, wow, and it'd blow
Right.
your mind. The other things would all blow your mind too, though, you know? And I think...
Except for the whole, like, destroy the base and everyone dies. Like, that would piss me. Honestly, it's not how I would make bets that's not how the book ends.
All right, we have our resident gambling guru, Baba Yagarian, in the house.
From the House of Pancakes. Yes, we are a strong house full of maple syrup and hard penises.
So what do you got for us this week?
Well, this week, again, I am Baba Yagarian, House of Pancakes, the guru gambling fanatic. This week, we get down to it. First to die this season, gentlemen. Again, based on $100 bets. Bet $100 to win X amount. For example, Daenerys Targaryen, first to die, plus 170. So she is the underdog. Cersei, minus 235. So Vegas thinks Cersei will die
Wow.
before Daenerys.
Oh, before.
What do you gentlemen think?
I think definitely before.
Before. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, definitely.
I think before, yeah.
Alright.
I think it's easy
Oh,
money on
fuck.
that.
I guess, I don't know why I'm even here, folks.
Get the
Vegas. All right.
No, but talk about why, though, because I don't...
Why do you think she'll die?
Like, do you think Daenerys dies at all? I think if Daenerys
I think she dies.
I
I
think
think
if
she
she
does.
dies, I think she probably does, but I think if she dies, it's at the end.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be this great sacrifice if she dies. I don't think they're just going to off her episode 3, see you
You gotta
later.
give her a couple episodes.
Nice knowing you, see you later. They're not doing that.
I don't think she's gonna die. So
Yeah. It's
You don't
one of
think
those.
so?
no.
All right.
If she dies, it'll be later. I think Cersei gets it. We can talk
If it's
more.
not a main plot point, I think she's. If that's the main plot point that she dies, then she dies. But I don't think she's gonna
Can
die.
you bet on who kills Cersei? Is that
That's
one?
coming. That'll
All right,
come
all
probably
right.
sooner than later.
All right.
Now, when will Cersei die? All right. We have episode 3 or 4 coming up is plus 450. Episode 5 or 6, that's when everybody thinks that she's gonna die. That's
Yeah.
minus 650. That's a heavy favorite. Pound that if you got the money. Or plus 700, she does not die at all.
Wow.
So now, if you had $100 in Vegas, would you wager 650 to win $100 on the favorite, episode 5 or 6? Would you bet $100 down that she's gonna die in episode 3 this week or 4 next week? Or would you say she does not die? $100 wins $700. That's a pretty solid bet right there. That's
Well,
a long shot.
I think there's no way that she dies this week because I don't even think they fucking show her. I think we go another week without even seeing King's Landing at all.
Ah, so those guys get the axe.
Yeah,
They-
simple.
All right.
So I think there's no way that it's this week. I think she dies.
I think she dies at
So
5
you
or
think
6.
5 or 6?
I'd
Yeah.
go 5 or 6.
You guys are right on line with Vegas. You guys are good. Now, what will Bran warg into next? Will it be a raven, a dragon, a human? I guess they mean human by standing upright and walking around like a maniac. A wolf, or some other kind of weirdo from 5,000 years
I'll tell you what he should have walked into. Anything near the Umber boy he basically went by himself to get killed. And he could have helped. But anyway,
Helped him not be
Yeah.
Yeah, a little recon.
little help on the little kid who.
A little
Yeah.
recon, buddy. Send this kid off to his death.
Still
Anyway,
get nightmares about
Yeah.
that.
Is there a none of the above type
Other
of-
for plus 400. So
Other?
$100 bet. If you say anything else other than those first 4, it's plus $400.
I don't think you can warg a dragon. So I think that's out.
He's
Yeah.
out.
I don't see him warging a human. Like, I guess if he was going to take over some person, he took over Hodor, but Hodor was a simpleton
yeah.
that he had ruined.
So he could take over some regular guy.
I think it's a raven. I think if he wargs anything, I'd say raven. I'd put my
Or a
money
bunch
on
of
raven.
ravens.
Yeah, and I could see him going ahead to, to
These
kind of
guys are good. You guys at home, keep track on these.
What about, there's no tree in there?
No tree? What's the tree gonna do?
It's surveilance.
Have you ever seen
surveillance.
Guardians
Yeah.
of the Galaxy? Fucking
I-
Groot could
I'm
fucking
getting out of
hit
here to go see
somebody
the
else.
Bruins. I don't watch this shit. What the fuck do I care, nerds?
Daenerys, you're a hockey whore.
Yeah, I am. I love hockey boys. They have strong thighs, They wrap their arms around the king of the, what am I, the queen of the South,
The
North?
Queen of Marine, the
Yeah,
fucking
the
breaker
Marine.
of the
Mother
fucking
dragon.
Cavalry
strap-ons.
queen. That's me, baby.
breaker of Russian chains.
Breaker of Russian,
Khaleesi?
breaker of Russian wangs. Moving along, the best character this week, speaking of getting it in the hole, Arya this week. She took one right down the 5 hole. Thank God, I've never been so turned on by a 12-year-old more than that in my life.
Not
So
true.
the
I was
over-under,
horrified, man.
this is going to be on how many living people Arya will kill. Not dead, Nightwalkers, blue-blooders, nothing. How many living people will Arya kill? The line is over or under 3.5. 3.5. humans that she kills this season.
Living people.
Living people, main characters, living people.
Well, how
3.5
many
overall.
people are left on the list?
This is gonna be like 30.
There's a
25
bunch.
or 30. You know?
There's a bunch. I mean, I think the Mountain is still technically on there.
Yep.
Cersei's on there.
The Hound.
3.5.
Yep.
That's, you know. So would she kill 4? You think, or would she kill 3? You think?
I'm gonna say under
Under. All right.
because she's gonna have some sort of character development.
You
Yeah.
don't really know how badass she is.
I mean,
like, she could be
that's-
a
that's
really
me.
good
That-
fighter, or she could suck.
I'm going for 3. Maybe she
Under.
comes back from
Lock
being
it.
a psychopath, but
I'll take the under 2. I think that, she's going to take out the rest of the people on the list or the main people on the list, and that's pretty much it. So, I mean,
I'll take the over.
Attaboy.
right.
Attaboy, Dan.
Life's too short to bet the under.
all right.
I say she kills multiple people trying to get to her targets, and they're going to be people no one cares about. I say maybe a guard or somebody that's
Some
just kicking
throwaways,
around.
yeah.
Some throwaways. She'll kill a bunch of those people on her way to her actual target.
All right.
And especially if she gets any shot at trying to kill Cersei, which I don't think she does, but I could see her
It
killing
could-
3 or 4
anything
or
can happen
12
like
people
that.
on her way.
Yeah. She could warp over there and warp back
Yeah,
in an
yeah.
episode and a half.
Yep.
I like it. I like that a lot. Go into that
Throw
now.
some pigs in there.
Out of some of our 2 favorite characters, we have Brienne of Tarth.
Your two favorites?
These are my 2
Oh,
favorites.
nice.
Brienne of Tarth and Tormund of Giants.
Oh, speaking of Tormund, let's get a
Tormund.
toast. Let's get a toast going.
Toast to this guy. Mother's milk there, the Giants' milk of a tit tiger. You know? I mean, that was TV right there, folks.
Some Giants breast
The
milk.
Giants' tit milk. Arr. Just trying to throw it, but here.
like a champ.
I just drank some of those hairs.
Oh, is that-
Better than I expected.
These are all my middle section hairs that I put on this week. All right, so first to die this season, Brienne of Tarth. She is plus 210. So people don't really think she's going to die this season at all. Tormund of Giantsbane is minus 320. The heavy favorite. Vegas thinks that Tormund, the giant milk drinker, is going to die first. What do you think?
I think Tormund didn't die when he fell from the side of the wall. So I think he never dies.
Yeah.
So I'd bet Brienne. Brienne had her crazy moment where she gets knighted. And
Did you see that smile? Did you see her smile ear to ear?
yeah,
Fucking
so,
black hole
yeah,
sun
yeah.
face.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So I would say Brienne dies. Obviously, some heroic death, but I'll give Brienne.
Yeah,
My
she's
money's on Brienne.
the end of this week's episode or whatever, fast forward, she's yelling at everyone to keep the line. So she's going to be right in the thick of it, I think.
So Brienne, you'd bet 100 to win 210, or you bet
Win-
210?
right. No, you'd win $100 to win 210. You'd have to wager 320 on Tormund to win 100.
Gotcha.
So the odds are huge that
I'm on.
Tormund is
I'm
going to
on.
die.
My
before
money's on
Brienne.
Brienne.
I think I agree with you for different reasons. I think once the realm is free of whatever force, everything was back. There needs to be a representation of a wildling, and he's like the only kind of wildling left.
Right.
So I think he's got to represent the population.
I see him getting like Last Hearth
Yeah,
as
yeah,
his new
yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Someone has to take that place over. And he's seen it. He
Yep.
knows the place.
I see Tormund going down before Brienne. I actually think that he might do some sort of heroic rescue, like jumping in front of the
Alright.
He
spear
saves
or
the big
something
woman?
like that,
Yeah.
and he saves the big woman.
Oh, we've all been there.
And then, on the sidebar, I think that Brienne of Tarth is going to do the same thing to try to save Jaime, and I think that's how she goes out.
I like
right.
that. I like that
All
a
right.
lot. Moving along,
Well,
now let's get to the
different
dragons.
theories.
Our favorite marsupials on Game of Thrones. First dragon to die. Now we all know Visceron's already dead, but this lines are Rhaegal, the undead Visceron, or Drogon. The 3 dragons who will die first from this here on out. Rhaegal is the favorite. He's plus 100. So win 100, bet $100, win $100, obviously. The undead Visceron is plus 175. So that means it's already dead. We know that. Will it die again? That's a solid question.
Well, quick stipulation on
Sure.
on the bet. Like, say if Dragon or the other one, say if they die and they get brought back by the Night King, are they technically dead?
I
would go with
Vegas, knowing them, they always play it straight.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
assume one of them gets taken out.
Wait,
Whether
no,
that's-
it's non-existent.
Whether they get killed and brought back as a dead guy, or if it's the dead guy getting taken out
All
for
right.
good, I would assume that one of them getting killed in a battle
To stay
counts.
dead.
Vegas thinks Drogon's going to last all year because he's plus 200.
Yeah.
They think that Rhaegal will die first, then Visceron, obviously the dead one, and then Drogon is ranked third. So if you get the money, Drogon, if it dies, though, that's going to be a big down because he's the main one, right? Of all the dragons, he's her favorite, and she's
Yeah.
always riding him, right?
He's the biggest.
The biggest of the...
I would go. I'll say that the undead dragon gets killed first, but wounds the other one that it fights with, whether it's Rhaegal or if it's Drogon, whichever one it is. I'll say that the undead one gets killed, the other one dies of wounds, and that's kind of how that ends. I think that's where my money goes, and I'd have to bet 175 to 100.
You would. Yep.
Well, there's no easy bet on this one.
No.
Yeah, no.
They're all considered over.
Well, technically, no. You'd have to bet 100 to win 175.
Oh,
so
I
they're
gotcha.
actually a midline favorite. There's really no.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Vegas doesn't give a shit about dragons, apparently.
Yeah,
it's
no.
the Golden Knights
No.
hockey team, and that's all they care about.
They don't want you to bet on it.
But now, I think a good question leading into me my next week's gambling or betting, Allie, who do you think is going to kill Cersei? This week, pick your pick. Next week, we'll bring it back up. I'll write it down. Have my little chairs write it down for me. Who do you think is going to kill Cersei this season if she dies?
I think she definitely dies.
Okay.
My money's on Jaime killing her. It always has been. That whole prophecy where everything has come true has been that the little brother will kill her, the Valancourt will kill her by strangling her with that golden
Sexy.
hand.
That's
probably.
a
like
book
it.
reference, right?
The golden hand
and it's in the
strangle?
show
Oh,
because
in
they
the
showed her
Valancourt?
when she saw. Yeah, there was a season when she saw Maggie the Frog. They showed her when she was a kid, and but that lady was the Woods Witch or whatever she
yeah.
was, and she told her that her kids are all gonna die. She told her she was gonna marry the king, not the prince. He'd have a pile of kids. She'd only have 3. Her kids would all die, and then the Valancourt would strangle her to death, which means little brother, which means that it's either Tyrion or Jaime, which she was born first, so Jaime's technically the little brother, or a different little brother like the Hound, because there's a lot of little brothers in the show. But my money is still, no matter what, on Jaime, because I think that he's gonna find out that she's lied about stuff, or something's gonna happen, and he's gonna
the
kill
biggest
her.
character development through it. We used to hate him, now we love him.
It could be he kills her the same reason why he killed the Mad King, where he broke his oath to kill the Mad King because the guy was crazy and was going to burn down the whole place, and maybe that's what she's going to do, and he strangles her to death because he doesn't have a sword to do it with. But I think Jaime kills her 100%.
Awesome.
I
That's your number
I
2.
used to think that, and then I was like, maybe he'll let her die and kind of walk away.
Yeah.
But you know what? I didn't stick to my guns when I first thought of that, but I agree with you. It's maybe Jaime.
I think it's going to be Arya in King's Landing with some sort of face in the ballroom with the lead
You're
pipe.
going with a psycho.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
like it.
You're going with a psycho.
With you guys.
Yeah.
A lot of people said this.
With the X one.
A lot of callers to the show have brought this up,
Yeah.
of which we have many.
858-5527.
So but a lot of people have said this. That's a theory that Arya will be wearing like Jaime's face and kill Cersei. But to do that, she would have to kill Jaime and then take his face because they don't just put on makeup.
It's gonna be
and
dead.
it's not magic. She's
Yeah.
cutting their faces off and wearing them. Like you saw her bag of faces that Sansa found. So I don't think it's that. I don't think it can be that because in order for her to do that as Jaime or someone else, she has to kill that person first. I don't see Arya killing Jaime and taking.
What
his
about the
face.
Littlefinger face? She's got that one in the hole, and technically nobody in King's Landing knows that he's dead.
Assuming she kept it. Assuming
I
that
mean,
they didn't burn his
wouldn't you?
body.
That's kind of an ace in the hole face. Like,
Yeah.
So
I
she
mean-
hasn't leveled up to like the Jake and Hagar face changing power yet, where she's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That comes with more skill.
that's that's the next level. She dropped out before she was taught that.
Yeah, she went pro out of high school then.
Yeah.
Graduate.
Yeah.
She got the Phoenix education, you know.
Yeah.
She can
Yeah.
wait tables very well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's really do it.
My
Let's-
bank's gone,
Oh.
so hey,
All right.
let's do it.
I got another one.
All right, boys. See you next week.